Hey guys, happy Wednesday. It's time for social studies. To get into your Flix today, you need to be in ClassLink and you need to find the folder that says Flix. When you open Flix, you are going to go to FreedomFlix. And when that opens, you go to Colonial Era. In the colonial era, you choose the British colonies in North America. Today you're reading pages 26 through 31. Now, as you read today, you're going to start learning more about the Native Americans and how they were impacted as the colonists started to settle in their land. So in your assignment today, you have two parts. You're going to take 3 notes in the orange section. That's from the point of view of the colonists. What were they thinking and experiencing on these pages? Then you're going to move into the green section today, and you're going to put 3 notes in about the experiences of the Native Americans. So 3 orange and 3 green, 2 different perspectives. If you have trouble loading Flix today, like some people did on Tuesday, you can stay on this recording and listen to the book being read to you. If you are able to open Flix today, you may read to yourself.
In 1634, Lord Baltimore of England established the colony of Maryland as a home for English Catholics. Settlements grew up along rivers. Tobacco was the colony's cash crop. In 1732, James Oglethorpe established the colony of Georgia. The establishment of Georgia increased the number of British colonies in America to 13. In order of their founding, they were Virginia, 1607, Massachusetts, 1620, New Hampshire, 1623, Maryland, 1634, Connecticut, 1636, Rhode Island, 1636, Delaware, 1638, North Carolina, 1653, South Carolina, 1663, New Jersey, 1664, New York, 1664, Pennsylvania, 1682, and Georgia, 1732. A clash of cultures. Colonial relations with Native Americans often resulted in conflict. Frequent battles, raids, and wars by both sides usually resulted in Native American defeat and loss of land. The constant warfare and deadly diseases that settlers had brought with them from Europe also killed many native people. In 1636, British colonists met stiff resistance from the Pequot in Connecticut's Mystic River Valley. When a trader was killed, colonists blamed the Pequot. The Massachusetts and Connecticut colonies promptly declared war on them. The Mohegan and Narragansett were enemies of the Pequot. They sided with the colonists. In May 1637, colonists surrounded a Pequot village and set it ablaze.
Okay, here is an opportunity to collect some notes.
Catholic settlers held services and constructed churches in the Maryland colony.
That's a good note for the orange section from the perspective of the colonists.
Colonists brutally murdered most of the residents of a Pequot village in May 1637.
And that's an idea to put in your green section from the perspective of the Native Americans.
The killing continued until almost all of the Pequot were dead or sold to the Narragansett. By the late 1640s, Puritan missionaries began encouraging Native Americans to live in permanent communities. In these praying towns, the Native Americans were encouraged to adopt English dress and agricultural techniques and to embrace Puritanism. Praying town Native Americans sometimes acted as colonial informants and were disliked by other Native Americans. 3 Wampanoag killed one such informant in 1675. Plymouth colonists retaliated by hanging the three men. Led by Chief Metacom, also called King Philip, Wampanoag warriors burned colonial homesteads in response. On the Virginia frontiers, the Susquehannock raided farms and killed settlers. However, Governor William Berkeley insisted that the settlers not seek revenge because he did not want to risk the profitable deerskin trade with the Susquehannock. In 1676, Virginia colonist Nathaniel Bacon defied these government orders and led 1,000 Virginians in a bloody uprising against the Native Americans. Bacon's rebellion briefly drove Berkeley from power. Farther north, a Wampanoag uprising, called King Philip's War, 1675 to 1676, soon grew to include the powerful Narragansett and other tribes.
Okay, let's collect some more information for our Google Documents.
Colonial attempts to convert Native Americans to Puritan ways led to the violence of King Philip's War.
That can be written from a colonial perspective in orange or a Native American perspective in green.
Native Americans attacked more than half of the region's 90 Puritan towns. The colonists responded by building alliances with the Mohegan and Pequot. Eventually, the tide of battle turned. The Narragansett ran out of food and ammunition, and the rebellion collapsed. The clouds of war. By 1760, the population of British America had grown to about 2 million people. To meet their needs, land companies looked westward toward the Ohio River Valley for trade and settlement opportunities. The French, believing their fur trade with Native Americans in the Ohio Valley would be threatened, attacked and destroyed British trading outposts. The British government in England was outraged by the French attacks. Trade with their American colonies had become highly profitable. The British would defend their investments even at the risk of war. In a rare act of colonial cooperation, representatives from 7 colonies met in Albany, New York, in June 1754 to discuss the situation. Before a plan could be finalized, war broke out in Ohio. Its consequences would change life in the 13 colonies forever.
Wonder what you could write about the war from the colonists' perspective.
French settlers established a profitable fur trade with local Native Americans.
Okay, there's something that happened with the Native Americans.
The French and Indian War marked a major turning point in the relationship between the colonists and the British.
And there is a piece of information that you could write from the perspective of the colonists. Remember, 3 facts in the orange column and 3 facts in the green column.